Hello and good afternoon, Tennessee. Hope everyone is having a great spring. We're going to wait another minute or so for more people to join. And just wondering, did everyone get to use Uber Eats? I know the codes were sent this morning, and if you didn't get to use the code, I think it should be good till like Wednesday or Thursday in the afternoon. And let me know in the Q&A box if what you ordered for lunch. I know for our office, I think we're having Caribbean food, so like jerk chicken and plantains and rice. Let's see. We have some great organizations today. I saw some event centers, child and family care. See who ordered some lunch. I'm seeing burgers. Oh, someone got Chick-fil-A. We're in San Jose. There's a lot of Chick-fil-A's opening, and Starbird is another one. If you have that in Tennessee, I feel like it's a lot of chains are growing for that. And Dave's Hot Chicken also is growing too. And if you didn't get the code, I can forward that to my director. He'll be able to send the code after the presentation, and it should be still good to use for like another day or so. My apologies if you didn't get to use the code. We'll get that to you as soon as the presentation's over. So I see Mexican food, burgers, Burger King, pizza. Awesome. All right, so before we get started, just wanted to do some housekeeping. At the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with the email to provide the HRCI and Shroom credits. And if you do have any questions today, the chat function is disabled, but you can also put any questions in the Q&A box, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible, as these questions will be saved. I may not be able to address them as they come up, but I should be able to address them in the follow-up email as well. If you want any further information, feel free to respond to the email I'll be sending with the credits. And then I'll also be sending a recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues. Today, we're going to talk about Tennessee nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, just wanted to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponco. I'm the Membership Development Representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales since 2016, selling vendor booth space at a wedding fair for 3 years. I've been setting up meetings for tech startups in the pandemic, and currently I'm scheduling appointments with nonprofits here at 501 since July 2023. And the image of people bowling is of me and some of my sales and marketing team members. Heidi's my manager in the middle. You may work with her in the future. And Evan is on the right, who works on our marketing and web development. I'm really excited to be part of a team that's helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. And we're located in San Jose, California. So we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley. And we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. And thanks again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. We're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real-life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and finally provide more information on our company 501c services and how many of our Tennessee nonprofits have benefited from our services. First of all, just wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 1972, 501c3 organizations didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separated employees, Although this saved them money from paying these taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of having that safety net that for profit companies provided. Fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment, but were provided different options in how they pay so that the tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you can see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information here in Tennessee. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So, for instance, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including Tennessee, run as a risk pool. So what you put in doesn't necessarily equate to what you'll get out. We're seeing that a lot of nonprofits are putting more money into that pool than what they're actually getting out of it. And these total tax liabilities by employers are often greater than the claims paid with reserves used in times of recession. And the tax liability is calculated by multiplying the taxable wage base by your employer tax rate. Take a guess on what a single claim can cost in Tennessee. So feel free to put some guesses in the Q&A box. I see 2,300, 4,400, 6,575, 3,300. I see 20,000, 11,000, 12,000. 14,500. Just as a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. And just as a little hint, that maximum number of weeks is 26. So I see 9,300. One more guess, I got 67.75. So the maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in Tennessee can cost 8,450. And just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. Those extended benefits you saw in the recession and extra COVID payments, they were covered by the federal government. The maximum weekly benefit in Tennessee is $325. And when we multiply that number by 26 is how we get that $8,450 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000 and there's no maximum. Tennessee is at that lowest taxable wage base at $7,000, which means for the first $7,000 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that. So the majority of employers in Tennessee may pay their taxes in the first quarter, but you might see that taxes paid after the first quarter, maybe for seasonal employees, new hires, or employees making less than that $7,000. The minimum tax rate is 0.1% and the maximum tax rate is 10%, and those are both set by the state. The last thing I want to know is the improper payment rate, which is at 27.02%. This overpayment equates to over $131 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment from the past 3 years in Tennessee. And this is information that we get from the Department of Labor. You can see Tennessee is one of the many states that's greater than 13%. This is really important to know as we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this. And if you are managing on your own, you want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. There are 3 different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with the tax rate that's set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure, reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. Just let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications that we look for in order to consider reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. It excludes religious institutions. We recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more because typically, if your payroll is under $1 million, especially significantly less, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings by opting out. However, there may be some scenarios where you could see potential savings, so we'd be happy to look at your numbers, even if you're just slightly less than a million. And we also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you're paying in claims. And we want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding for the next 24 months. So we do recommend to stay with SUI if you know if you might have anything from layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where tax rates may go up with experience. And you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. What it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separated employees. No matter how your employees separated, they'll still go through the same process for EDD, where the state will determine their benefit amount based on their base period pay. The only change is how that quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for charges your organization incurs. So we work with 1,500 nonprofits, and several of them are in Tennessee. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying for SUI. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in the state tax, such as those tax hikes you can't control, and you become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims and into the state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we can certainly talk, as sometimes there are circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. If you're smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. So I do want to talk about how SUI is calculated. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. So for Tennessee, that taxable wage base is at $7,000. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $7,000 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. The tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. So to calculate the contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for Tennessee, it's at $7,000 times a zero point 0.1 to 10%. This amount means that if each employee makes over $7,000, a company is paying in between $7 to $700 per employee in unemployment. So this is a Tennessee tax rate notice that we've done in the past or we've analyzed in the past that provides us some of the information we need to do for a cost analysis for your organization. It includes your taxable payroll, tax rate, and benefit charges. In this example, the organization paid over $15,000 in benefits, and based on their tax rate and taxable payroll, they paid over $8,000 in taxes. And since the claims were higher than the taxes, it would be recommended for this organization to stay with SUI. Not every cost analysis we look at is going to have savings. However, in many cases, there are examples where we can look into reimbursing. So the next two slides will show better examples from organizations we've helped in the past that have large overpayments and greater potential to become reimburser. Also, there isn't a need to understand everything on this notice. We'd be happy to look at those numbers and see if there are any potential savings within your organization. So in this first example of a human services nonprofit we worked with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate of 4.7%, estimated claims only $200 per year. And in this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were paying over $45,000 a year. Think of what you can do with an extra $45,000. And then for this example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000, the tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims about $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000. So they overpaid around $18,000. A little bit more about our company. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Hugstad. He was looking at ways to save money for his organization, so he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust, the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust, that eventually became 501c Services, 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his companies or to his employees. So we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. Our services are valued tremendously by our members, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And here are a couple of examples our members have shared. You can go back to these later as I'll send the slides after the presentation. And this is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago that includes testimonials from Nika Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger of Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we work with several Tennessee nonprofits. Here's a quick snapshot of a few nonprofits here in the state and across the US that are members. And like you heard them say in the video you just watched, our members appreciate how we save them time and relieve administrative burdens. The first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. Our team will help you audit and protest claims. We offer unlimited access to hearing reps. Our team has an average of 80% win protest rate, and you'll also have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust. And all of your claims will go through an online portal where you'll be notified when a claim is filed. So you'll go into the portal and respond to the questions. And if in any case you go on PTO and forget to delegate these tasks, it shouldn't be a problem for when a claim isn't responded to in several days. It gets escalated and handled. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those Tennessee error rates. So we'd be happy to help you audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying a claim when someone gets terminated. And we want to make sure that you're managing these claims and also have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small, dedicated team that can answer any of your HR-related questions. So if you have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with the person who can support you and manage any of your HR questions. Our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHROOM certified, and there's also an online knowledge library with our HR services. With the $325 maximum weekly benefits here in Tennessee, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you ever lay someone off, our reemployment tool offers packages such as online coaching, interview techniques, resume writing. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster, which in return can help save your organization more money. The protection part is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection, which helps members during catastrophic claims. And other than those catastrophic claims, for managing the highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust. Also, it's kind of like a savings 101 account. This is a reserve account owned by our organization where you would save for those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you want to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2023 to 2024 as a reimburser. And if you're paying SUI, I would need a copy of your 2025 tax rate notice. And it would also be helpful if you have your 2023 and 2024 tax rate notices, so we can look at more potential data points for you. So I see one question. It says for this one, what if you have 75 employees in 27 different states? So for the cost analysis, I'll also send over a follow-up email in more detail and talk with my manager. We do work with organizations that have employees across the nation in multiple states. Typically, we'll do I know we do different cost analysis. We start with the cost analysis of the employees that are in the majority or of that, or we start with the state that has the majority of employees, and then we do analysis and more analyses for the other states. So I will create a follow-up email for that question. And also we do have a document on how we work with multi-state organizations. And if anyone else has any other questions, feel free. I will log off in a minute or so. So if you do think of a question or if you are still typing, just let me know. I should be able to send you a follow-up email. And thank you again for joining the presentation. This is my contact information if you have any questions. Also for Tennessee, the deadline to opt out is May 31st, so contact me as soon as possible. We still have a few weeks to help you become a reimburser. Thank you again, and hope everyone has a great day.